Hey guys, if you are new, please like and subscribe. But for today's video, I'm gonna tell y'all about this incident where I found CP in my ex-boyfriend's phone. Okay, so pretty much this was like my first relationship years ago, 2016. I think literally almost 10 years at this point. I don't know why I'm just now making this story time, but pretty much it was this guy who was like 2 years younger than me. He had a lot of family issues and whatever, and I was in college, and I think he was still like a senior in high school, and I would pretty much just go over to his house after I would finish my class or whatever, like on weekends, and I don't know, just all the time I was like at his house for no damn reason. And we were basically playing house because he had these like three younger siblings, and he had like a stepmom. So it was basically the case of like his mom and dad got divorced because they were both in the military or whatever, and then he had this evil stepmom with the three kids, right? And he would basically be forced to take care of them, you know. So while his friends were out having fun, he was trapped at the house. And then I think the stepmom and the dad were in the military, so they would just be gone for like a week at a time, just be out doing whatever. Who the hell knows, right? And his dad cheated on his mom with this new Spanish lady, right? But anyways, he just had like hella family drama, and our relationship was hella toxic. It was like on and off at some points. It was like, I don't know, it's basically like the honeymoon phase was like 4 months, and then after that it kind of just went downhill, but we still kept dating just for the hell of it, even though like we both low-key hated each other, something like that, right? But next thing I know, it got to the point where he was like hiding stuff per se, because he had this best friend that I later found out was like always into me or whatever, but he just didn't tell me or didn't tell his friend, which was my boyfriend or whatever. So him and his friend would basically like smoke together, and I would tell him like this was like before I ever tried anything or whatever, but they would smoke weed together, and I wasn't really into all that stuff because the smell was just so horrible to me. And I always thought like, why would you even smoke at all? Like, that's so bad and that's dangerous and blah, you know what? That was my mindset, right? Because I've never did anything in my life. Okay, so basically I would tell him like, oh, don't like smoke today, or don't come back smelling like that, because I didn't want to like kiss him because the smell would be all over him and like his clothes would smell like that. I don't know, I just didn't like the smell of it, right? And next thing I know, he would lie, and I'd be like, oh, are you smoking today? Because I told him like he could do it whatever he wants, just don't expect me to be like make it out with him, right? And he would be like, no, I'm not smoking today, blah blah blah. Turns out like his friend would DM me from behind his back and be like, yeah, like we both smoked today, for like we smoked a lot, blah blah blah, that's why he's acting weird, blah blah blah. And I'm like, bro, so why do I have to figure stuff out from your best friend? What the fuck? So next thing I know, there was this one time where we were in an argument, and I was sitting in the living room and he was in the kitchen, and I think we were like planning to film a video because we had like a couple's YouTube channel that I was trying to start, and we were coming up with ideas and whatever. So he was making food in the kitchen, and then I was like already sus that he was hiding stuff from me or whatever. And next thing I know, I grab his phone without him looking, and then I go sit back on the couch, and I'm just like looking through his phone and all that stuff, looking at like the websites that he be on. And next thing I know, I see this thing, like as soon as I open like, what is it, Safari or whatever, like the private browser, I see like this image of this, it was like kind of like scarring, okay, but like it was this image of like a grown man on top of what looked like a baby or like a small child or something like that, in a sexual type of position. And he was coming over to me, my boyfriend, and then he saw that I had his phone, and he was like, what are you doing with my phone? What the fuck? And I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is it? And it was just like a weird image, okay? And like, I know what I saw, and I don't forget the shit that I see, right? So I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I like, he was like fighting me for the phone, okay? Like literally jumped on top of me. We're like wrestling on the couch. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Oh my God. I'm like creeped out, okay? And at this point, I guess that's where I got the ick, but I still started dating him, so it's like, that's my fault. But we were fighting over the phone. He's like, I'm like, what is that? Like, you need to explain that shit. And he was like, well, it's just an image, whatever, from like this other website. Because I guess like he was trying to say that whenever you open like the P websites, those sexual websites that, you know, men typically use, that there be ads for other things. And the thing is, like, I don't know, me personally, when I be doing that shit, I don't be getting weird ads like that. Okay, like if anything, you get those ads where it's like, oh, meet this 55-year-old woman in your area now, blah, blah, you know, those little pop-ups and shit, right? So he was trying to claim that that image was like a pop-up from whatever he was watching, right? But I'm thinking, like, aren't pop-ups like similar to the stuff that you actually watch, right? Like if he was watching some girl on girl action, wouldn't there be like a pop-up for like lesbians or some shit, right? So you got to be thinking, what was he watching if that image of a grown man and a child popped up on his phone, right? But he's claiming it was a pop-up. But for me, when I saw it, I could have sworn it looked like an actual website, like a link to a video, like an actual video, you know, something like that, right? So I'm like, what the fuck? So ever since then, I was basically creeped out by it, but I feel like it was traumatic and we were in a toxic relationship anyway, so I kind of like mentally clocked out or whatever, and I feel like that's why I couldn't even like open up to him like sexually or whatever, because we never like did the do together, because I was just never turned on enough. And I feel like that was like the final straw where I was like, yeah, I can't do anything with this guy. So it was just an awkward situation. And looking back, I feel like that was when I should have left him, because that was like a perfect excuse to leave, or like it was like a valid reason to leave, you know. But yeah, it was just traumatic, and I feel like it kind of like deep down it was still in my mind. Like, of course I'm never gonna forget that, because like right now I still remember, and it's been 10 years, right? And I remember the exact image. But I feel like back then I kind of like hid it, and I was going through a lot of shit at the time as well, so I was just like, yeah, let me just forget about this shit, right? And then I think a couple months went past, and it was like really toxic, and then to the point where his friends on social media were like attacking me, and then like I had to defend myself or whatever, and I basically exposed him. And I was like, bro, this man had CP on his phone, and y'all coming after me saying that I'm crazy? What the fuck? So I don't know if he was telling them things behind my back, because you know how men, they vent to their like female friends instead of just telling their actual girlfriend the problems or whatever. So all his female friends were attacking me, and I'm like, bro, this man has CP in his phone. But of course nobody believed me, because people never believe that their friends are capable of doing stuff like that, right? So it kind of just got swept under the rug, and it's really unfortunate. And I feel like fast forward to now, 10 years, it's like his friends are still friends with him or whatever. So a lot of people just enable that behavior. So in my mind, I was like, you know, what's the point of saying something like, you know, 2 years afterwards, 5 years afterwards? There's no point of saying shit, right? And then I think it was really awkward, because a couple years ago, like 5 years ago, it was like, you know, when I first got on TikTok, everybody's on there in 2020 because of the quarantine and stuff, and then one of his beats went viral, because he makes beats and I helped him make beats and blah blah blah, right? So one of his SpongeBob beats went viral, and I was like, oh, is this my ex? What the fuck? And it turns out he was getting like popular because of his beats that he was making, and then on YouTube he has like a lot of subscribers for his beats. And I'm like, damn, like I really put this man on, and nobody knows that the stuff that he was doing. Kind of crazy, right? But yeah, that was the story. Still kind of traumatized by it, and now like this is why I be telling women, like, go through that phone. Me personally, I don't care that I looked crazy doing it, or like I went behind his back, and like, or how people say like, oh, if you have to go through his phone, at that point you might as well leave, you know, or whatever. But me personally, I just like seeing proof, having evidence proving that I'm not crazy, because that's like, if I feel that he's cheating on me, and I'm like, oh, he's probably talking to this girl or whatever, and then people are like, oh, well, you might as well just leave if you're having those thoughts and those suspicions, right? But me personally, I just need proof, and then I will leave, okay? But it was just a weird occurrence, and I'm like, damn, I wonder if he be doing weird shit, or maybe like his parents or his stepmom did something to him. I don't know. I'll still never know why I was on his phone. End of the day. But yeah, that was it. Bye.